the activation process, the awakening process, I want you to really get into a rhythm of slowing down, making sure you have enough time to start with. This is not something you can do in a rush. Make sure you are comfortable, make sure you're in a setting where you won't be disturbed, and make sure you have time to do it. And then there are just 3 steps involved. But even those simple 3 steps may take a while for you to get into and learn how to do, in the sense of approaching them in a different way than you might normally. The first one is to slow right down and to breathe. And we often forget to even breathe. Sometimes I catch myself when I'm deep in thought, especially when I'm concerned about something, I catch myself having held my breath unwittingly. So the very first thing to do is just to become aware of your own breath and to breathe. And even in that, it can be a moment of giving thanks to God. He's the one who gave us the very breath that we're breathing. And so we want to come back to these earth suits that we live in. Comfortable, breathing. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. I would recommend closing your eyes, because the brain waves that happen with your eyes open and that happen with your eyes closed are very different. The brain waves that happen with your eyes closed are much calmer brain waves. So that in itself is going to help you relax and tune into God. So if you can, gently close your eyes and then pay attention to your breathing. Don't rush it. Inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. And then start to give everyone and everything to God. And you can say that. God, I give you everyone. I give you everything. And I'm turning my attention to you. And just keep saying that. And with each breath, just give yourself more and more to coming and being in God's presence and being attentive to his loving presence with you. Step 2 is called spill the milk. I thought that was a good description of what we actually want to do. We want to make a mess in this step of the process. It's not an analytical, organised, logical process. We want to respond intuitively, spontaneously, get all our thoughts and ideas out anyhow into that space on the journaling page. So you need to do it quickly. If you give yourself too long, you will move into your analytical brain, your logical brain, and you'll start to overthink everything. That's not what we want. Set a timer. Give yourself 2, maximum 3 minutes. And trust, because you've invited God into the process, trust he's there with you. Trust that what comes up, he can take care of. Doesn't matter whether it's messy. And as you write down everything, I've got a list here in the book. You may get thoughts to put down as, it may be a picture, might be a diagram that you can quickly draw, might be some kind of mind map. It could be single words. Aunt Bess, mum. It could be place names. It could be single words. It could be a sentence. I'll never amount to anything. Might be something that someone has said to you. It might be something that you often say to yourself. It could be a memory of something come up. And in and of itself, if you slip back into your logical brain, what you'll find yourself doing is like, oh, that wasn't a big deal. Or, oh, she didn't mean anything by that. Or, well, I've forgiven that, so I shouldn't be thinking of that still. That's that other half of your brain kicking in and trying to talk yourself out of it, or analyse, or help you understand. That's not what we're doing in this phase. This phase is we are allowing our hearts to speak, and therefore we're going to trust whatever comes up intuitively, spontaneously, thoughts, pictures, words, diagrams, maybe a scripture verse. Just put it all out, draw it on the page. Doesn't matter, no one but you is going to see it. Well, no one but you and God is going to see it. And you will get a chance to go back with God in his loving presence to make some kind of order or sense out of this. So remember, we're not ignoring our logical or analytical or reasoning part of our brain. We're just giving an underused part of our brain a chance to speak for a while. The part that is connected to relationship, to heart. Remembering that, for example, you may have forgiven someone for something, but maybe your heart is still wounded and needs to still be heard. And this is a space in which it can do it. So it will probably look very messy. You don't have to spend your time thinking about grammar or writing things neatly. Just get everything down and don't allow yourself to stop and analyse at this stage. You have 2 to 3 minutes maximum and go with everything that comes up. If you feel it's irrelevant later, that's fine, but we don't want to miss anything that comes up and all the ways it can come up. So that is your spill the milk phase. Make a mess. It's okay. No one's watching. Step 3, I've called mop it up. We've made a big mess, or at least we should have done. We spilt the milk. Now it's time to mop it up. And we get to do this in a journaling process, a right brain journaling process. And that is all recorded for you in the book from page 50 on. And there's some encouragements here for you, for those who are wondering, well, okay, is this me? Is this God? Is this the enemy? Who's speaking here? Well, this is where the beauty of also having that logical, analytical part of our brain. We can record what we sense is God's voice speaking to us and making sense of all that milk that we spilt. But then after that process, we can come back and we can reflect, and you can honestly tell very quickly whose voice it is speaking, whose voice it was speaking. God does not condemn. He may convict, but he's not coming in condemnation. So when that voice has been harsh and critical and demanding, you know that wasn't God's voice. Similarly, our own voice to ourselves can be harsh and critical and demanding. And so it's really irrelevant where it came from, other than if it's God, we want to keep that voice. We want to listen to that voice. We want to hold on to that voice. That is the voice we're wanting to hear. And so this is the process that you go through to journal his voice. Remember, you're not journaling your own voice. You're sensing what God is saying to you. I've described this in the book. And if this takes a while to get your head around, just keep going back and reading it and trying to get your head around what we're actually doing here. We're not journaling our thoughts. We are journaling what we believe are God's thoughts towards us. So in summary, on page 53, you can see there's a little key for you to keep referring back to. And on the journaling pages, there are these prompts, visual prompts. So step 1 is breathe. Let go of everyone and everything. Breathe deeply and then say the question on that journaling page out loud to yourself several times. Step 2, spill the milk. This should be the recording of ideas, thoughts, images, pictures, spontaneously, intuitively as they come to mind. Record it in some way in that space. And step 3 is mop it up, where you're going to journal God's voice and then read it back out loud to yourself. And that is it. Breathe, read the question, spill the milk, mop it up. And practice it over and over.